Welcome to another episode of the City Boy Show. I'm trying to fake be excited. I'm sad, guys. Welcome to another sad episode of the City Boy Show and another sad NYCFC podcast.
You know what made me even sadder?
What?
On the way here, I was listening to the. You're mad
The
late.
intro didn't even want to start. Yeah, now let's act like this is an upbeat show. Change the mood. All right, you were listening to who earlier?
I was listening to the Jason Kelsey retirement speech.
Was that more optimistic than
No, it was so sad. Dude was crying the entire time, but it was good though. It was good. I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm sad to see Jason Kelsey go. But it was kind of funny because he mentioned he was saying like moments that he didn't forget in his career, and he was like, "I'll never forget Nick Foles having the biggest dick at the stadium to decide to want to do the Philly special." And you know that's the big like thing on him, Big Dick Nick. And then he was like, and then coach, who was the coach?
I don't know.
Coach Peterson had the biggest balls in the stadium to call the play. And so, but the whole thing was sad. Dude was crying the whole it was a 40-minute speech. Look, this drive here is long. So I heard the whole thing, and but it was had me tearing up a little bit.
You ready to cry on this episode?
I'm ready to cry for multiple reasons.
This team's poor performance, your poor start to this episode, talking about some random Philly fan.
What? The Eagles are
nobody cares about the Eagles, bro.
Yeah, your boy Brad Sims and these Eagles fan.
Brad Sims? I'm not worried about Brad. Fan. I'm upset with Brad Sims right now. All right, let's get into this game.
Yeah, let's talk about the game. Kind of to summarize the game, we had lost against St. Louis on Saturday, 2-0.
Yeah,
they were
2-0,
as the British say.
Yes. I noticed we always say "oh" and it sounds weird. It does sound weird. I think the nil is like a perfect.
I don't know. You know, Roberto, like a year ago, was like, "We're playing this game in America. We need to. It's a field. It's a jersey. It's." He didn't say it's 0, but now I'm adding it 0, and he got me inspired to. And it's soccer.
Well, don't say "oh" though, because we do say "oh" sometimes, and that feels weird. You could go with 0. But O is weird.
You don't use O in sports?
I like 0.
We say we go 4-0 when we have a record.
Yeah, but it's different when you're playing a game and like it wasn't a 2-0 game. It was a 2-0 game. In when we're talking about scores.
I don't understand how O is any different than 0.
I like 0 and 0. 1-0 feels weird to me.
I mean, if we're calling it soccer, we should say 0.
Okay, then let's say 0. Let's not say "oh."
Although we are a football club.
Facts, B. All right, let's get into this lineup.
Well, okay. Well, point in summary, we lost 2-0. There was a goal given up on the 35th minute, but Sands gave up that pass, and it was scored by Samuel Andeniran. I'm gonna terribly pronounce that. And then there was
Pompey
in the 35th minute. On the 35th minute, and then Samuel on the 72nd minute. And that is how we lost the game. Okay, so let's go into the lineup for that game. Wait, do we want to go through the rest of the stats for that game? Because I feel like that's important.
We'll get back to the stats. Let's get into the lineup first.
All right. So the lineup was Freese, Kevin O'Toole on the left, Thiago Martins, Burke Rea, Olenek on the right. Then in the midfield, we had Park, Sands, and Pereira. And then on the front line, we had Santi, Bakra, and Wolf. What were your thoughts when you first saw this?
We don't have a 10. We didn't have a 10. If we have Santi out on the left, we don't have a 10. So we didn't have a 10. Also, the way the lineup, they said 4-3-3, but the lineup kind of played where Sands was in the back. So it was more like 3 in the back, and then you had your wing backs go forward. But yeah, first off,
like a 3-4-3 type of situation.
Yeah, that's how I would have seen it. That's how I kind of saw it, because every time we attacked forward, Sands would pull back. Yeah. And then we had Keaton and Andres not knowing really what to do because both of them are intense. Who's going to pull forward? Who's going to stay more back? and it was just a mess.
I guess we could just talk about that now, but like we knew prior to the game, it was very obvious that St. Louis loves to press.
They love to press.
They love to press.
High press too, right from the defensive line. They're gonna come after you.
So you would think you would want more offensive players and a 10 to play the game, where people on offense probably have less chances of making those type of mistakes that you see on the back line.
Yeah,
because they are used to distributing the ball, getting past defenses. Yet we played Park, Sands, and Pereira in the midfield. And then we didn't have a 10 to kind of connect the midfield to the front line.
Yeah.
So can you explain the thought process there?
I can't explain anything, bro. I'm not the coach of NYCFC, but
did anyone ask that question? Why didn't we play a 10? You were on the press conference.
You probably nobody asked that directly, but I mean, if you're gonna say anything, you could say that Santi kind of has the flexibility to go wherever he wants. So when a wing back goes on the left, he can just kind of like play more central and then become that 10. And we saw that at times with Santi. It wasn't like Santi did have a couple good balls in the first half where I thought Santi actually had a decent first half, and then the second half kind of went down the drain.
Yes, agreed. Also, what I thought was interesting so that's what I don't understand, I guess, was the tactic to this. In the second half of the game, I saw Burke Rea making some passes to Munsef. I was like, you're faster than this back line. Let's do that in the second half. So none of that in the first half. And then I can't come to you from this game and go, Cushing's tactics to beat the press were X, Y, and Z. And I just don't get how a team that's played consistently the same way for a year now, last year was their first year, that you didn't have a better strategy. Also, because the Red Bulls play a very similar strategy. Not as good, but they play a very similar strategy.
We were texting back and forth, and we were like, this is the press on steroids, basically. Like,
correct.
St. Louis does it so well, and especially in that building, it was just like every time you saw an NYCFC player with the ball, it was like the ball was taken right away soon after. It's like you had such limited chances with the ball, and they were unprepared for it. It's like, that's what I just don't get. Like, how are you so unprepared for the press? When you know this is how they're going to play. And this is what makes this team great. Granted, like, this makes this team great. They had the third most amount of goals last season, so they are a threat with this press. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that we felt unprepared, and we felt like there wasn't a strategy moving forward.
Agreed.
So that's what kind of drove me crazy. I mean, if we look at the stats, we only had one shot on target versus their 3. They had 16 shots versus our 7. Yes, we won the possession. And guess who leads the league in possession still? NYCFC. We will always have possession, boys. So yes, we had the possession. Did it mean anything? No, not really. And Cushing said after the game, look, we were still in the game in 70 minutes. We were never in that game. Like, it never felt like we were a threat. And you can see there was a bunch of goals, a bunch of shots taken by the opposing team that hit the goalpost. They had very dangerous opportunities against us. And you saying we're in the game. Yeah, if a score is 1-0, technically you're in the game. But if you're playing like crap for 70 minutes and players don't know what they're doing, then you're not really in the game.
Agreed. When I heard that comment, I made a double take. Like, what game were you watching, homie? That did not feel like a game we were ever in from the moment. And yes, we had possession, but we were waiting for us to make and then we're on that. So I don't see where we ever look like we were gonna come out with a win or even a draw in this game, honestly.
Yeah, and that's one thing. The only times we've seen some flashes of something, this is an example when we saw Santi. But then we also had one more dangerous play where Kevin O'Toole it was a cross from Parks to Kevin O'Toole, and then he headed it straight to Hans Wolf. And he mentioned this one play, which was our actually one dangerous opportunity. It could have led to a goal. It was honestly our most dangerous moment in the game. but it resulted in nothing. And when you only have one real dangerous chance, one big chance, you're not going to win a game. And yes, we might have limited their chances as well, but at the end of the day, they found a way to come out with a victory. They came out with 2 goals. It wasn't just one. You could say, oh, it was just 1 goal. No, it was 2 goals.
Yes.
And it's just frustrating. And I think you saw the frustration from the players. Look, we know the fan base is frustrated, right? We've seen it all over Twitter, on Instagram. Everybody's frustrated. But it's starting to feel like the players are too. Like, yes, it's early in the season, but you see Santi getting subbed out and he's upset. He's visually upset. He's the only person who's making any type of impact, and he's upset about it. But I think he should be upset, but also he should take some fault for it too.
Yeah.
Because if he's the guy, you're the guy, right? This is your team. You need to make more dangerous opportunities. You need to put your teammates in better opportunities. And I just feel like he doesn't bring that either. He doesn't bring the best out of the rest of the guys on the team either.
Something our boy Jason Kelsey said.
Oh my God.
His interview. No, but this is a good point. He was saying that one time he was in training camp, right?
Oh my God.
And one of his boys,
I give this guy 1 beer and he starts rambling.
one of his boys was going too slow on the jog, right? And so he slowed down to kind of like inspire the dude. And his coach said, no, you lead the team. I'm here to take care of the dudes in the back who need support. And Santi is supposed to be the leader of this team. I mean, if you think about it, he's the person that's kind of the most talented, and where I thought was going to be playing, which was the 10, is kind of where you give the most opportunities to the rest of the team to do it. And so I agree. Like, I know he's not the captain of the team. I know we give it to Thiago Martins. I find that a little strange, honestly, in itself, that it's a defensive player. But at the same, and then Sancho, which is a very different situation. But like, he should be leading the team by example. And I agree with you. Losing his temper and at the same time not really making the plays for other teammates just shows that he's still not the leader of the team. But at the same time, him playing, the thing is, like, he's back. We invested so much time in him playing the 10, and then the past 2 games he hasn't played the position. Isn't that a problem? Isn't the whole thing that you're doing less tinkering of the team, right? Your boy always says that he's form over something that Kushion always says. What's the form? Like, he says, I want to start the same team over and over, but we suck, so I have to keep changing the lineup.
Well, I think it's also like time, like form over health, or freshness.
Yeah, something like that. But my thing is, like, he's still, it's early in the season. He's still moving pieces around. That he played Wolf on the 10 in the first game, and then played Wolf not in the 10 in this game, and just decided not to have a 10.
He played 2 10s last game. Well, not in St. Louis, in Charlotte. Right. And then he was like, yo, I'm not doing no 10s this game. Let's switch it up, bro.
Bro, it's such a switch up to the lineup. It's driving me crazy, man. I think you either let Santi be the 10 or you decide something different. But, like, how do you make that work? I just think Santi needs to be back in that position, man. I really do.
And there's still a man who actually plays the 10 naturally, and that's Maxi Morales. But we need to wait for him to come back. And maybe that is something we just need, like a natural 10. Because we also said Santi wasn't always that natural 10. Even last season, yeah, he had the position, but it didn't feel like that was his best position.
I mean, I think he played better in that position than he played on the left this game. And I think, like, and I don't know if I think we have too much talent on the right to put him in. Yeah. I think he has to be in the 10 just based on our current squad.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's look at the substitutions, or do you want to talk about Sands' play?
Yeah, I guess we should talk about Sands.
Sands had a bad game.
Yeah.
I mean, how much further do we need to discuss that? He had a bad game, and then it even got even worse when he got the red card, which I know there's some people who said it wasn't a purposeful right. It was a purposeful red card. You went a little over the top with the foot. Like, let's just be honest. It looked like an intentional red card.
And my understanding is because he had a yellow and then got a red card, he's out for 2 games.
Oh, I don't know.
So he's out this game.
I didn't know that.
Definitely. And he's out another game. So he's not going to make the home opener. He's not going to make the next game. And then I heard that potentially because that was like egregious kind of call that they could give him a third game.
Oh, wow.
So, and the thing is, he's supposed to be like one of the veterans of the team. And also what kind of killed me was that like when he came back to this team, he felt like more mature. Also, his play felt like better. I felt like he was just playing a better team. And somehow it looks like he's regressed from last year, which kind of goes back to this, like, is Cushing
the problem?
Is Cushing the problem? Well, not only that, but is he like helping develop these players? Because it feels like Sands has regressed from the year before. And I think last year, the reasoning behind it was my guy played all of the Europe season, then came here and played the rest of our season, exhausted legs, didn't have time. But now he's playing just the MLS schedule. And I thought actually he was pretty good on against Charlotte. But this game was egregious, and he gave up that first goal.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, his position was kind of a center back this whole game, so that's not his natural position either.
But I saw a few times where he was like on offense, which I thought was concerning in itself. Like, what are you doing there, bro?
But when you have three midfielders who don't usually play as a 10 or shouldn't be up there, Parks was the only guy who's usually up there, or Perea, but at that time, they didn't know who should be up there first or who should play more back, and they'd expose them on the back end, right? Because then Kean and Perea will go up, and then it was a quick counter on us, and we were screwed. Yeah. So it's just like, I get it. These guys need time together, but also, should you not think about the lineup and think, no, we shouldn't start these two guys because they haven't played together. We shouldn't start this three midfield because it doesn't make sense. I'm not the coach, and I don't see the ins and outs of practice, but I would just think, just from looking retrospectively, like, no, maybe this isn't the best lineup.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm not a coach either, and we do not claim to be, but to say the press is coming, let's have a more defensive lineup against the best press in the league does not seem to make sense to me. Yeah, I would think you would have more offensive players that can get past the press. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot, but we also didn't win. So maybe we're right. I'm not really sure.
We're definitely not right. But let's look at substitutions. Do we critique Nick for the substitution?
I definitely did not love the substitutions. Okay. My thing is, bro, okay, you decided not to go with the 10. Santi did not play well. I agree. But he didn't play well in the position he was in either. Put him back at the 10. Bring in more offensive players. Yeah. That he went and took him out.
But he took him out for Ojeda.
No, but I think what you should have done was put Santi back at the 10. Put your boy.
So you would have taken out like Perea.
Yes, I would have cleaned up the midfield a little bit, right? Have two midfielders.
Well, he technically took out Parks for Jovan. Now he's loving the two striker system with Munsaf and Jovan.
Which to me, I'm not ready for that. I don't know.
Well, I don't think they're gelling, so it just doesn't make sense yet.
Yeah. So I think I would have put Santi back at the 10, maybe bring Hovan instead of Bakra, because Bakra also had a bit of a tough game. And then you have maybe Wolf on the right, and then or Ojeda on the right. I don't know. Wolf on the left.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, but there was also, I don't know, man. It's early. I know people love Wolf. I had some like concerns with Wolf myself. There were a few times where the ball was past him, and his like ability to trap the ball, to do something with it, he kept losing the ball. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's what happened. That's what happens when you have someone who was playing left back for the past couple of years, now playing right wing. Well, it seems so off.
No, but he played the wing position as well. So I wouldn't say he was just left back.
He was primarily the left back.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think he played primarily the wings, but he would sometimes track back as left back. No, I'm serious. I think he played primary wings. So I think that's a wrong assumption. I mean, I think that's the case. If we look at the FOP ratings, they were bad. But Rea had our best one, which was a 7.5, which questionable. But then from there, the second highest was Wolf, 6.8. And then it just all goes downhill. You know, it's funny. Hudson River Blue does their own ratings, and they rated the highest player, the ref. It was actually a great article, just because they're like the ratings were so inconsistent. They were like so wacky that they're like, we had to give it to someone, and the ref had the best job out there.
I did think these sub refs did pretty good this week.
Don't say that, bro. Why you teaming up with Don Garber to get these refs not paid, dude?
I heard from not Glenn Crooks.
Yeah, Glenn
Crooks, that there was
that they're like, oh, they're doing fine.
Yeah.
Like it's the same amount of complaints.
But that Don Garber told the media to not complain more about the refs.
Why are we complaining about the refs, bro? He's coming for us.
Well, when he says the media, he meant like the people, not us little 5 follower situation. He meant like the people who do the live
that's
broadcast.
why you're not talking bad about him, are you? I knew you were in Don Garber. I'm looking for a new co-host right now.
Talking about things that would offend people. What do you think about the U.S. Open Cup having NYCFC 2 playing? So it's only 8 teams. We're way off topic, but I do find this interesting. 8 teams, the top 8 players are going to have their like real squads, and the rest of the teams are going to be 2 teams.
Trash.
Really?
We shouldn't do that. We replaced Leagues Cup with we said Leagues Cup, you're more important because we make more money from it. And the longest standing tournament in the US, we were like, nah, we don't care about you guys. And I liked Open Cup games. And somebody gave a good example. I forgot who it was on Twitter, but they were like, there'd be no Keaton Parks without Open Cup.
Yeah, it's because he played really well at Open Cup.
Yeah, exactly. So those Open Cup games give players an opportunity to shine.
I kind of disagree, only because I don't think we cared as much about it as like we showed up to the NYCFC game versus I don't remember who at St. John's. St. John's wasn't packed, bro. That bench was like that stadium only holds maybe,
but they did
300
a horrible
people.
Job like advertising, like they set up.
But it's not their tournament. It's not MLS's tournament. That's the whole reason MLS doesn't care about it, right? So like the US Open Cup, then whoever like is in charge of that doesn't do a great job advertising it.
Yeah.
And people like to see like these Mexican teams plays American teams. It's always like, American soccer sucks. And like the Mexico League is so much better. And we actually get to like put that to the test. I don't know. I'm not saying like I'm sad what's happening to US Open Cup in a way, because it's been around for such a long time. But at the same time, like you look at the viewership numbers of Leagues Cup, you hear people consistently talk about like MLS sucks. All the leagues in South America are better. And you actually have an opportunity to like put that to the test, versus I've never heard one person in the world say the USL teams are way better than MLS teams, or even care about that conversation. So I think it's like fun in theory, but I don't know if it was really bringing the excitement that we care about. It was like when Twinkies went out of business, right? People were like, no, Twinkies out of business. So everyone went and bought Twinkies, and Twinkies was like, we're back. And it was like, but then nobody wanted to buy Twinkies after it was gone.
People are still buying Twinkies, bro.
I haven't seen a Twinkie in a minute.
Twinkies are delicious.
Do you really like Twinkies?
I do like Twinkies.
Twinkies are gross.
You never had a fried Twinkie?
Yo, if you gotta fry it, that means it ain't that good, bro.
Nah, it's good. No, but back to the US Open Cup conversation. Like, it is important though, because these lower, like basically MLS is trying to shun these lower league divisions, which is important to growing soccer here in the US. So that's why it's so important to keep these leagues. You have fan bases who really care about these teams, and MLS is like, nah, we're trying to shun you out. That's basically what it is.
But when you say we have fan bases that really care about these teams, do we know what those numbers are? Like, are these fan bases large? Do they support the situation?
We've gone to Red Bull games where NYCFC has 5,000 people in it, where the home game is Red Bull Arena. Now, just because we only had 5,000 people, the interest looks low. Do you want this team gone? No. So it's the same.
If it's the Red Bulls, I do want them gone.
No, but it's the same theory. Like, just because you don't have the numbers numbers, but you have this strong supporter crew who they're making enough to keep their team afloat. Like you want competition in different leagues and lower leagues, and you're trying to say you're trying to grow soccer, but then you're trying to kind of keep this league out of it because it's not your league. Like that's an issue. That's a bad thing for the league.
Yeah,
and bad thing for soccer in the U.S.
But what happens if NYCFC 2 wins it? Does that mean that like wouldn't that kind of validate the point that just like the competition in that league isn't worth it?
The competition though, I think it's still about being able to grow soccer in the US from all these different teams and things. I don't care as much about, oh, my team's better. Yeah, your team should be better because you have a lot more money to spend. You want to see these lower league teams play like an FA Cup with like a Wrexham or these other teams that, yeah, they might not actually win, but to see that competition and have those opportunities to compete against these bigger teams. And I know it's a relegation type system, but it's still awesome to see. And it really grows the sport, I feel like.
Yeah, maybe a solution. Maybe we can solve this for Don Garber in the US Open Cup right now. They do it as like the preseason.
No.
Why not?
Bro, people already didn't want to watch. Now you're making it a preseason competition?
No, I'm saying move the US Open Cup to before the MLS season starts.
That's another thing I'm annoyed with. You're okay with Leagues Cup being like, oh, we're going to take a 1 month break. But then US Open Cup, you're like, nah, we don't care. That's another reason why most of the times we didn't attend at US Open Cups because it was on a Wednesday afternoon in St. John's versus being at a stadium on a Saturday. Those matter. Those matter. So like there wasn't any care for it in the system. And I really want to get players' opinions. Like, did they love playing in those games? Because I don't think we have enough of those. Coaches' opinions. Well, coaches are probably saying no because they want their players to be fresh. But like, I don't know. I just feel like it should matter more than
I just even if like let's say like a USL team won it, I don't know what that does for like MLS and what it does for like soccer as a whole. I'm a little torn up on like what the net positives are at the end by having the US Open Cup. I know what the net positives are to Leagues Cup, right? If a US team wins and it feels fair, I feel like last year it didn't feel fair. Because you have Mexico teams traveling.
But sorry to cut you off. But US Open, when you won it, you had a chance to be in Champions League.
Yeah, the CONCACAF Champions League, correct.
No, that's important. No, that's the whole reason to have it.
But I'm talking about like to growing the soccer community. How does that happen? By having a USL team compete against an MLS team. Sometimes like that's where I'm a little torn up on where the net positives are. Versus the Leagues Cup, I feel like has very apparent positives. Do you get what I mean?
I don't. What are the positives for the US? Okay, you could see a Mexican team play here and you make a lot of money from it.
But you also kind of take away the stigma from MLS being a trash league because people don't consider La Liga MX a trash league.
Well, I think the standards are basically becoming already kind of like more.
But it helps. You can't say like it helps like reaffirm that and go, look, LAFC beat XY team or I think actually Miami won it last year, right?
No, the Dynamo won it.
Oh, the Dynamo won it. Okay, so like, look, an MLS team won it.
Oh, you're talking about Leagues Cup.
Yeah, I'm talking about Leagues Cup.
Miami won. Okay. Dynamo won the Open Cup.
Yeah, so Miami. I mean, that's different head-to-head, Messi and stuff of that sort. But what I'm saying is like,
nobody would have cared about Leagues Cup if Messi wasn't here at that time. Let's be honest.
I mean, we've been to games where it's like the Pumas versus NYCFC for that Champions thing, and like there's a great turnout.
Yeah,
it gets sold out. That stadium.
Like viewership outside of the U.S. I don't think they care. So, is it really growing U.S. soccer that much? Probably not.
I don't know. I think in the long run it will. I think La Liga MX versus MLS is like a real competition that could bring real validity to it.
I think you need to have. If you're saying you're trying to grow the sport in the U.S., you should have competitions like the U.S. Open Cup, which is the longest standing tournament in the U.S. Like, let's be real. Like, that's counterproductive to saying you want to grow the league. Yes. Do you want to grow MLS? Great for you. You want to grow your own sport. But if you're trying to say, I want to grow the U.S. soccer, then getting rid of U.S. Open Cup does not boost that up.
I'm not saying no one's saying get rid of it. Or you're saying you're killing it because you have some League
you're
Two
killing
teams?
it. You're making it less relevant. What people want to see the best competition from NYCFC go against a USL team.
I think it would be different if there was relegation, because then you could see that happening, right? You could see, I forget the team that did really far, the Sacramento Bears or something. They had like a bear logo.
I don't know.
But whatever team did really well last year in the US Open Cup, like having them compete, go far and go, this team one day can like make it to the MLS, quote unquote Premier League, that would be huge. But like the way the infrastructure set now, where none of those teams will ever make it to MLS at this point, I just don't see as much as the value as people are like excited. I'm not saying we shouldn't have it, and I'm not like super supportive of what they've decided to do, but I'm kind of playing like devil's advocate. Like, I'm not sure how much value it's really bringing to growing soccer. I think that's where I'm like, really, I wish someone, and please anyone, can like explain to me how much value you bring, except that, it's a tradition that's been around for 100 years. But, us growing up as teenagers, that traditions are trash. We should make new traditions that make sense for us. And I feel like Leagues Cup is a good new tradition. I don't know. I don't know.
It feels a little bit like a cash grab. But let's move on.
Okay.
I'm done with this.
So we kind of left this game St. Louis, but I think, was there anything good you got out of this game?
No. I don't want to be pessimistic, but I didn't leave feeling good about it. What could you have felt positive about if you did?
I would say I thought Munsev, who didn't have a great game, did a pretty good job when Burke Rea did pass it to him, like to get that speed to get past the back line. And we're like a super slow team. And to see Munsev like be able to get past that back line and win that ball was one positive I got out of the game. It didn't turn into anything.
I can't remember any time he did that, but I'm sure if you're saying it happened once, maybe.
It happened a few times. I was like, oh, wow, this man, when he turns on the jets, he goes. But I also heard that the back line for that team was struggling big time. I think there might have been some subs in there. So I don't know. But I appreciated Munsev's speed. I think we saw that in the first game too. Like when Munsev turns on the jets, he can get really fast and pass that back line. So if he can actually score, then I think Munsev still has the ability to maybe become a decent striker.
Okay, great.
We used to be the positive. Hudson River Blue was like, man, they might not be the best podcast, but they always got good vibes.
We don't have good vibes. I don't feel very good right now. I mean, we have 4 shots on goal in 2 games with 0 goal. Oh, an interesting stat that they pulled out on us that they did during the broadcast is when we concede the first goal, we're 0, 11, and 6.
Terrible.
We're terrible.
Yeah, I think they said it on the broadcast that the last time we won a game when we conceded a goal was 2022.
Oh wow, that's when we conceded a goal
and
still came
won,
back and won.
Yeah,
that's pretty terrible.
That is pretty terrible.
And we're gonna
probably pre-Cushing
now
era.
That we're going, yes, that's what I'm saying. Now that we're going into that talk, let's look at Nick Cushing. Like I wanted to look at this. Let's look at head coach's winning percentage for NYCFC. Ronnie Dyla, 51% winning percentage. Dome, 48% winning percentage. Patrick Vieira, 44 winning percentage. Jason Kreis, who lost his job after a year, 28%. Nick Cushing, what would you say his was? You already looked at the number.
I'm looking at your screen. I'm sorry.
Okay, why you looked at my number? 32% winning percentage.
That's exactly what I was going to guess anyways.
Yeah, right. So 32%. No one's done as bad other than Jason Kreis. And what happened? He lost his job after a season.
Yes.
So
also they said it in the broadcast. Nick Cushing was the only coach who didn't make it to the playoffs who kept his job.
These are stats. These are stats.
These are stats. You now have the stats. You make your decisions.
It's tough. I don't want to be pessimistic after 2 games, and I know we're being.
Cushing said it's just 2 games. Chill out.
Yeah, I know.
You know what though? Cushing said that, right? it's just 2 games, I don't think he was talking to us, the media and the fan base. I think he was talking to the front office. I think he's saying, I know you guys are hearing it. Really, yo, bro, how many events did we see Brad Sims and Nick Cushing at? These guys went on the apology tour this offseason. And then to go on the apology tour and come back with 2 losses. And if you lose at home for the home opener, bro, I don't know. I don't know how much leash they're going to give him. And I like Nick. The crazy thing is I actually like him. I just
the statistics don't prove. I mean, we're looking at a winning percentage of 32%. And you've had the team that whole full year last year. And wow, we go into this season. And granted, I would say he didn't have his best squad last year. You had Talis Magno playing a striker role, which he wasn't. You had people out of position. But 2 games into the season, it's not looking good. And one thing he also said is he wanted to play more fun soccer. We're not having fun.
No.
The team doesn't look like they're having fun.
No.
Can that all change at home? It could.
It could.
We always played better at home, even though under his reign we didn't play as good at home. But I don't know. I'm feeling pessimistic. He has a very low winning percentage. I just don't know how much more the fan base is going to take and the front office.
Agreed. I think if he loses the next, few games, it's going to be a problem.
I think they give him at least maybe 10, 11 games.
I think so too. I think 10 sounds reasonable. But I also think it needs to be like 10 games where the games we win feel like they weren't by chance and they were like good tactics. Because my thing is that it still doesn't look like we know what to do in the final third. And I don't understand, like I mentioned last week, how you've had so much time. You had the players you want, and you still can't find a way to score. Yeah. To be scoreless, to me, hurts more than to be winless right now. Because the wins don't matter as much in February, March. But not being able to score, not being able to put up points, that's concerning.
Or have an identity.
Yeah.
Like, what did we go into St. Louis knowing this is their identity? This is how they're going to play. If I told you, oh, you're about to play NYCFC, I don't know what that means.
That's a good point.
Right? Like, what is their style? I don't know. And it hasn't been defined. And I feel like at this point, it needs to start getting defined for us to move forward.
And when we're saying at this point, I think we're not saying at this point 2 games.
No,
at this point, Cushing ball, which has been around for longer than 2 games, has been around for a year and a half.
Yes. But this goes into our next game, and NYCFC versus Portland. We all know we won that championship in 2021. Felt beautiful to go to their house, beat them, come back with the MLS Cup. But these are 2 different teams now.
Yes.
And Portland is pretty hot fire right now. If we look at Portland right now, they lead the league with their overall FOPMOB rating. They're 7.30. They lead the West. They have the most points with 4. They lead the lead in goals per match. They have 3.0 goals per match. And their keeper right now, Crepeau, has the most saves per 90 minutes with 6.0. So they've been dominating, and they scored the most goals on the West with 6 matches. So you feeling optimistic?
Wait, the most goals with 6 matches? They played 6 matches?
Oh, they've scored the most goals in the West with 6.
There's only been 2 matches this season.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe they played. Okay.
No, they have scored the most goals in the West. No, they haven't, though. I don't think that's true. I think they have scored the most goals in the West. I'll double check that, though.
But I'm not feeling very confident. Do you know what the record is between NYCFC and Portland? They've played each other 7 times. We have lost 5 times. We have won twice. And I'm sorry. I'm lying to you. Portland has won 5 times. NYCFC has won once and has had 1 draw. But the draw was the championship. It's considered a draw because they went into overtime and penalty kicks.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So we have not had a great record against them. But we won when it mattered.
That's all that matters.
You know, what matters is a season opener. So maybe we'll win again when it matters. We don't got the same squad, and we're kind of nowhere near as good as we were when we won that championship. But an interesting game. I just think, you know, they're under a new coach. They got Phil Neville, which is kind of crazy that he's doing so well against the Timbers when he was such a trash coach at Inter Miami.
They were a trash team, though.
They were really just saving up their dollars for
Messi.
For Messi, Suarez, and the rest of them. So I guess he's having the second opportunity and he's playing well. So it's a little scary.
One good stat for NYCFC, if anybody wants to know. We are unbeaten in our last 6 home games. Don't ask me how many ties that is, but we're still unbeaten in our last 6. So that's a good thing.
I hope we had Scott Churchison. He could tell us right now.
He'll definitely tell us the stat for that. And we lead one more category, the league in red cards. Bro, we're gonna make
it. How many red cards do we have? We just have one. No one else has gotten a red card?
No. We're tied for first. We can't even win in that category, all right? But so what do you expect our lineup to be?
Well, what I expect and what I want are two different things.
Talles Magno's injured. Injured.
He was injured. So we don't know if he's coming back. We haven't talked to him yet. True. But this is
hit up his photog, man.
You're gonna hate this lineup, but this is what I want to happen. Take out your boy O'Toole. I'm sorry, O'Toole. I love you. Put Hans Wolf there.
That's not happening, dude. You know, in the preseason, Nick Cushing said, "I am not starting Hans Wolf at left back."
I understand that, but he also lies to us every day of the week, 24/7.
All right, he doesn't lie that much. Why you gotta over exaggerate?
The point is, I think we should have the most talented team on the pitch, not just the players that I don't even know what he's thinking. Honestly, I don't know what he's thinking. So hopefully Gray's healthy, and I think Gray should play again because I think Micha has kind of been a bit of a defensive liability. I think Hans Wolf should play that position at left back, which I know everyone's going to disagree with, but this is how I feel. You don't have Sands anymore. Oh, I messed up this lineup. Sands should be out. So it should be Parks and Andres Pereira. Santi back at the 10, Talles Magno on the left. The only reason I'm not putting Hovan and Trapito in for Burke Rea and Ojeda at this point is because they haven't been here for long enough. They've been here, I think, max together between both of them 2 weeks. So I don't think you start them. I think if Cushing has been working on tactics for the past offseason, which I have no evidence of, but I'm assuming that's what he was doing, then Julian Fernandez and Burke Rea should be playing better than those two guys. Even though they might be more talented in the long run, you would think they have a better game plan. So I would say Talles Magno, Burke Rea, and Julian with Santi at the 10. And keep Wolf on the pitch, but take out O'Toole. That is what I would do if I was Cushing. But what do I know?
What do you know? Why the hell are you putting Wolf back there?
Because he plays there.
Well, the only thing I will say is that our wings are going forward anyways, but as you can tell, we don't hold the ball much. I mean, we do hold the ball a lot, but we're already a liability on defense, and we're relying on somebody who's more of a winger to defend. I'm not okay with that.
My man was playing defense that last game. Did you see he stopped a few goals from going in?
Nah. You don't put Hans Wolf back there.
I bet you by the end of the season, Hans Wolf is playing left back, bro. If we keep especially if we keep Talles Magno, we'll see what happens.
I don't think that's happening.
Oh yeah.
But
but do you know who else thinks we're gonna win?
What?
Yeah.
That was mad random. Somebody else thinks we're gonna win a game?
Yes.
Who?
The gambling gods.
What? The gambling gods are idiots. They don't watch enough MLS. I really think if you really want to beat the sports betting system, you got to do it through MLS because they be doing some wild stuff for DraftKings and all these other ones.
They have NYCFC at -125. They got the Portland Timbers to win at +320.
Yo, I like those numbers.
And they got the draw at +260. So according to them, the best odds is for NYCFC to win the game. They are home. It is their season opener. We did tell you the stats that Portland has a much better record against NYCFC. But yeah.
Insane. Well, before we get into those, let's look at our last bet. So we both lost $25. I said the tie at halftime. Definitely wasn't a tie. And you said, what did you say?
Both teams to score.
Damn, bro. You had no shot.
What do you mean I had no shot? Hans Wolf at least almost made it in. We had one shot on target. I had one shot.
So we're both down $25. So what's your go-to bet for today? Or for this next Portland game?
So I think we're going to score at home. I think we break the record of not having a goal. If we don't score at home on season opener, I'm not sure if Cushing's going to have a job. So I think Cushing's going to score. He's definitely
not losing his job.
Oh, but not Cushing's going to have a score. I think NYCFC is going to score. I also think Portland's going to win. So I'm going to put, again, both teams to score. And that's at -130.
-130.
And I'm going to bet the big bucks on this one. I'm going to bet $50. That's gonna happen.
$50. You're only gonna have $25 left after that.
I know. After that, I'm gonna have to go into a savings account and put more money in it.
Bro, NYC is gonna be. I remember when NYCFC was making us money.
Bro, we bought season tickets when you're just based off the winnings from the year prior.
It was a beautiful thing. Anytime they were home, it was like a solid bet. Yeah,
a lot.
And we were mad stressed back then for no reason. Now you should actually be stressed. I'm gonna go. I'm going very cheap because I have no faith in this bet. NYCFC straight up to win. -125.
Wow. How much are you betting?
$25.
Oh, that's pretty big.
I need to beat your numbers right now. Okay. So -125. NYCFC gets the win. All right. Final scores. What you got it?
I'm going to go, originally I was going to say Portland 2-1, but I'm going to hope for a draw. So I'm going to say 1-1.
I'm going... Look, I'm going 1-0. That's the only way we could win that. And if Matt Freese has the game of his life and we get it's not even a good goal. It's like a goal by accident. It's like a weird tap in that shouldn't have gone in that the keeper blocks, but it still gets in somehow. That's the goal we're going to have. And we're going to win 1-0.
All right. Let's see what happens.
Let's see, because I'm not feeling very optimistic. Any final words? So
we're going to be at the home game. We've unfortunately missed every event NYCFC has had so far because we have babies.
Dude, don't have kids. I think I say this every other podcast, but don't have kids, man.
Unless our kids are watching this in the future. We love you.
Yes, you guys are the best.
You just regret that. You guys are terrible for our podcasting careers.
Seriously.
But in general, we're glad you're alive.
Wow, such great words from you. But I don't want to give this away. This one, but I'm gonna give a clue. So we have stickers coming out.
We got stickers coming out.
But we don't want to let you know. But so if you guys ever seen our stickers, and we're gonna do a social media post. If you guys ever seen our stickers, it's usually a player. And it's like what they're famous for, what they do. Right here. And this is the player right here, and he's going to be doing his famous Spider-Man pose. So I'm not going to give it away. We're going to post.
You just completely gave it away.
There's some people who might not know what that means. So, yeah, I pretty much gave it away.
We got Maxi stickers.
No!
Bro, you gave it away.
That's it. I'm playing the wrap-up music. You pissed me off.